back to another Music Maker guitar video. Josh here as always. I'm just jamming on the acoustic today. It's just a fun guitar. And I love it. And I have been getting a lot of your comments on this. It is a set neck. This is not a bolt-on neck. So again, that's kind of why it had me stumped in the other video. So if you've checked out that video and you're making a comment, please, thank you. Like, I'm really definitely trying to really truly find the origin of this guitar. And we can't tell if it's from the 70s or from the 60s. So it's kind of it's a tricky one. It's got me stumped. But anyways, it is an old family guitar. It does go way back. My dad didn't pick it up until the late 70s. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't around for a long time before that. He said that it looked pretty old when he got it. That said, he's not much of like a guitar expert or anything like that. He's just a guy who kind of inherited a guitar from a friend. And for all I know, it could have just been in an attic for like 3 years and just in bad conditions or something. You know, you never know with this kind of stuff. So I'm interested to hear more. Maybe, I don't know, maybe if I show you guys like close-ups of the tuners and stuff, maybe that'll help a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. It looks a lot like some of the 70s ones that are on reverb. That's the thing that's got me stumped, is it does. Some of the 70s ones, the backs look kind of similar to this. Like it does look kind of like a set neck. But I can see looking in there, there's no bolts or anything. I don't know if you can see that or not, but this is definitely a set neck instrument. And yeah, that would be how they did it, was through the inside there. So anyways, let's get to it today. I wanted to talk about how to do an audition. This was one, if you tuned in on Tuesday, you would have seen me and Susan Palmer of Lead Cat Press. And that's just something that we discussed a little bit, was that I had some really good teachers in the beginning who taught me how to audition. I did like a year worth of like audition training. So I went ahead and I wrote down, just starting really basic, and maybe we can open up the discussion and discuss auditions more, because there's so much to like really being good at them. Like anything else with music, the more you practice doing this, the better you get. So, my first audition was Chaos, and I'm not sure that I did super well, but that said, it was practice and it was a learning experience. I learned what not to do for the next time. And you figure these things out as you go along the way. Everybody has their strengths and their weaknesses, and what this should do is help you to locate your strengths so you can always showcase those strengths in your audition and kind of, I don't know, not lie about it, but you don't want to expose all of your weaknesses. Kind of like, you just don't want to show people all that stuff. So, anyways, 3 do's of auditions. Number 1, prepare music and prepare extra music. Okay? So if this is like coming to prepared pieces, you know what I mean? Always have a couple of things ready, a couple of tricks in the bag. And it helps if you kind of know who you're auditioning for. You can tailor what your pieces are to what they're doing. So always prepare music and prepare extra music. I always try to come with 3 prepared pieces. Usually people only want to hear 1, but if you do, extra, and then you have hopefully contrasting pieces too, so things that showcase different parts of what you can play. That's always a really good thing to have. If it's like reading, if you know it's going to be a reading thing, you should be practicing reading just every day. You know what I mean? If it's a sight reading thing. And if it's charts that, they gave you, you should have all of that ready to go too. So prepare music, prepare extra music, and do some research. Like if you can find other music that your auditioners have maybe created themselves and prepare some of that, that's always something that makes you stand out, so try to go above and beyond in preparing that music, and always try and do things at the best and highest quality. Number 2, dress to impress. Okay, so I actually I always have my trademark hat. And I think it is important to showcase maybe a little bit of your own personality when you go into these things. I think it doesn't hurt. But you don't want it to be too crazy, too flashy. I'm in all black today. That's kind of standard. And if somebody asks me to remove this, I'm not going to do it here on YouTube. Not before I reach 1,000 subscribers at least. But I, would remove my hat if somebody asked me to. And also, I typically don't bring a chair to the audition. You stand and you have nice posture, all of that stuff. So dress to impress. That speaks for itself. And number 3 is communicate. Now, this goes at all stages of the audition process, because you'll be in application mode where you are maybe talking to the applications committee and signing forms and just getting yourself registered to be able to audition. Or it might just be people that are in a band that are looking and they have an audition date. And in that case, you'll be maybe an email contact or a phone contact, and you just want to make sure you communicate and find out everything that you can. You want to find out like who you're playing for. Now, this goes to help with what music you prepare and everything. So this communication part is super, super essential. So you find out who you're auditioning for, what they want you to play, and that goes for like if they just want you to maybe learn their songs, or if you're going to have to sight read or do specific pieces of theory. I know for college auditions, people require certain scales, things like that, right? So you find out what all of those requirements are. You get your date and your time, exactly where you're going to be there, where you're supposed to be. And what you want to do is exceed all of those expectations. So if you know you're going to have to sight read, make yourself sight read every day. I always make myself sight read as an exercise, just personally, for like 5 minutes a day. But if I was going to do an audition and I knew it was coming up in, say, 6 weeks, I would spend probably 30 minutes a day just sight reading things. And just trying to really, really get as good and clean at that as I could, and just try and exceed the expectations, when you get there. Usually sight reading is about the last thing anybody cares about at most of these things. But, sometimes people care, and the better you can get at that, the better you'll do at that kind of stuff. And again, like preparing music, that goes with that. When you find out like who you're preparing your music for and what they're expecting, you can figure out, okay, how can I do this better? If they expect you to play scales at 60 beats per minute, you can practice at, say, 80 beats per minute and make sure you're faster than you need to be. You know what I mean? There's just so much that goes into exceeding expectations. But again, communicate and find out what those expectations are. And then, when they have the show up at this place at this time expectation, show up there 20 minutes early. You know what I mean? That never hurts. Be early, get your instrument out, get warmed up, get tuned up, make sure everything is ready to go. And that way, when they call you, even if they're late or something, and that can be a pain in the butt when you're early and they're late. But you just wear it with grace and be friendly about it, and just play and say thanks, have a nice day, and you should be all right. Don't. Let's get into 3 don'ts here. So don't show up with compromised gear. As long as you're doing these 3 do's, that should actually clear up some of the don'ts as well. But don't show up with compromised gear. I've shown up on auditions with amps that are broken, with pedal boards that are sloppy, that take 10 minutes to set up. I've shown up on gigs that my guitar is not in tune. I've shown up on gigs where my pickups are falling out. I've had every kind of gear fault in the book when it comes to auditions, but I've now learned over many years to not have that happen, because what happens is they don't fault your playing in any way from that. But like if there's somebody who you play the same level, right? Or maybe they play even a little bit less of the level that you're at. But they have pristine gear. Everything is solid. It's ready to go. They're set up fast. They're in tune. They're going to get the gig over you, even though you can play better. And it's got everything to do with the fact that they showed up and all their gear looked spot on. That kind of goes with dress to impress. Like, your gear should be dressed to impress as well. If it's not, then think about that, in advance of the gig, and get it set up and get it straight. 2, don't bring music. I have been faulted on fantastic auditions. I actually have auditions where I've gotten like scholarships and stuff, but I was faulted points for having music with me. And I wasn't even reading the music. I just had it there. And the thing that I really got faulted on the most was I was writing out a chord solo for one of my audition pieces, and I put the chord shapes to remind myself of what I wrote in my folder. And they went through my folder and they dug through everything, and they found that. And that was pretty. It was almost pretty devastating to my score. I think luckily there was a guitar faculty member there who saw it for what it was and said, he's not reading that music. He's clearly got it memorized, and that's just something that he's got with him as notes, for the background. But the other person who called me out on it, who was a piano professor, that person, I know they scored me lower. I saw, the papers afterwards, and everybody signed their name to everything for accountability. So I saw that I got a lower score. He didn't write anything nasty about my having guitar charts or anything, but he did say like, why do you have tabs in here at this audition? He was a little, he didn't really know what he was talking about, but he didn't like it, and it didn't net well for that judge. So don't bring it. You just don't need it with you. You should have everything memorized, and if you don't have it memorized, if you have something that you do need to read, they should have it there for you. That's the professional thing for them, and that's pretty much that. And then number 3 is, do not by any means show your weakest material. And what I mean by that is, obviously that means it's like, maybe a little bit redundant with number 1, do prepare music and extra music. But what I mean by that is, a lot of people work on some really intricate stuff, and it's maybe the most intricate thing that they can play, but they're still working on it. And what'll happen is, inevitably you'll make a mistake in some place. So you want to play something slightly below, actually, your highest capabilities. Not very far below, because you want to impress, dress your music to impress, as it were. But you want to play at your highest capability. Again, you want to show your strength the best you can. So take, not the hardest thing you can do, but maybe 1 level, 2 levels right below that, and play with amazing tone, immaculate tone, and you will find that you're much happier with your performance. And that's really the part that matters the most, is if you have something that sounds clean, well prepared, that just absolutely is flawless, that you can show to people. And that's the most important part of the whole thing. And you should go in unapologetically playing it, be loud and proud with everything that you do, and also be respectful. And at the end of the audition, don't talk too much, don't chitter chatter. Just say, I know you guys have a busy day, thank you for listening, I hope to hear back from you, and make a quick exit. You should be all good. Anyways, I hope that was a really helpful Music Maker guitar video today. Please do like and subscribe and leave a comment. Let me know what your audition experiences are. And if you have any questions about any of mine, I'd be happy to share them. But for now, we'll wrap that one up, and I'll play my way out. But please do have a happy Theory Thursday, and happy auditioning, since everybody's going back to school and everything. And I'll see you tomorrow for Funky Friday.